Hello everyone, Schultzy, and I'm back, and I'd like to give you another tip and trick thing. And honestly, and this is, you may argue that you're thinking that this may just only pertain to my playstyle, but I've been noticing that those badass points you will be accumulating over the game. Honestly, here's one hint I think you should always focus on. Take recoil reduction immediately, and focus every single time you've got a choice. Do recoil reduction, not redunculous, reduction. And the reason why is the fact that you'll be able to control your weapons 10 times easily, and easier. And you know what? You may be saying, oh, 1% here, and after a while, it doesn't add up. It's so minute. It does. It will slowly do it, and if you take even one simple upgrade, it does seem massively different. Because I did try it without the extra bonus points in there, and it is important to have recoil reduction as one of the most important things to focus on. Whether or not you think it's really important, it is. That recoil reduction will keep your weapons online, on sight, and hitting constantly and consistently. And you know what? That recoil reduction is really important. I honestly, it's saved my butt so many times where I can start spamming the trigger and ripping through enemies like they're nothing. Even if you watch my gameplay, you'll be seeing me pulling off headshots consistently. Even at, you may say, oh, it's just at close range. I can even pull off consistent headshots at longer range and do it a little bit faster with this recoil reduction. And even if I don't hit the head, it is in that head cavity or a high headshot, or that chest cavity where it's really close to a headshot. And all I have to do is slightly adjust my aim, or just let the recoil take its way. And this is something that you honestly, I will be harping, recoil reduction is so important. And honestly, people think, go for your health, go for your health. Health is just minutely important, because you know what? If you can hit your targets and drop them before they come to you, that's more important. Honestly, I've never really seen everyone says, oh, beef up this stat, beef up that stat. Honestly, these passive buffs that you get are more important to your weapons, to your guns, to your reload speed, to your accuracy. Those are the most important things. Also, the other thing I was going to say, accuracy of your weapons are more important. Accuracy and recoil reduction, because you'll be on target more often. And you'll be hitting your targets more often, even if you're not even an accurate player who sometimes can't hit the broadside of the barn, because I've been there on some days I couldn't hit jack shit. This accuracy and recoil reduction, super important, the most important ones. And honestly, if it doesn't show up, use your best judgment, maybe a damage mod. And if you don't even have a damage modification, go for your shields or something like that, and shorten the delay between it recharging. It's truthfully that these badass tokens, even though they're very small and minute, it will add up over time. And the more and more you get, and of different areas, the more and more you get them, you will get special bonus prizes. And I'm serious. It may be just a head customization or color scheme, but you know what? It is a very good incentive to do these, get these badass points, and it does matter. I can't think of how many times I played it. I mean, I've been using it. Honestly, I ignore the badass points because I wasn't thinking, oh, it's not big enough. But what it was is, when you get a couple badass points and you plug them into roughly the same thing, it adds up and it makes a massive difference. Because honestly, in the beginning, you may not feel powerful. You may think, oh, let's do more damage. You want to be hitting your targets. Hitting your targets is 10 times more important. And honestly, you'll see me, honestly, with the revolver or the semi-auto rifle, I'm hitting that trigger really quickly. If you notice, most of my hits are extremely accurate, and the recoil doesn't seem as big. And these little percents, these little ticks, do add up, little bit by little bit. And honestly, I know this is probably a bad one, right there, even a critical. Even though I'm taking my time, that's lining up my shots. And if I had a worse recoil, I would never have been able to I wouldn't be able to easily control that, and I'd have many more problems. And honestly, that's what you got to realize, that this recoil reduction is one of your most important things. And honestly, maybe another passive one would be active reload. Your reloading skill to be going quicker, because I've ran into weapons that reload so slowly that honestly shouldn't. But honestly, when you add those badass points in there, it may not seem like a lot, but when you start playing a while and you start building up stats, you'll notice that when you put a couple badass points into there, it will just, even though it seems minute in a split second or a second, you add up a couple of those percentages, you're shaving off maybe half a second to a second. It makes a huge difference, these badass points. And I feel this is a great mechanic they add in there that, honestly, if you start doing replays or different characters, it lets your characters have a slight advantage, because honestly, this game, if you just start running it like a normal shooter, it will kick your ass. And honestly, I love this game. I've been trying to get Killjoy to play some of it. She's been really busy. I want to bring her back to my channel because, honestly, she's been trying to get her hands on Torchlight 2 and Borderlands and actually a few other games, and she's actually said she's enjoyed it. She just wishes she had the time because she has a ton of stuff she has to do. And honestly, I really want her to have her opinion and have her tell her opinion and not just have it spoken through me. And if I can't, yeah, I'll have it spoken through me, but I would love to have her say what she really likes about this, because honestly, I don't feel I can express it half as well as she can. And she's exceptional. She loves playing these games. She just takes her time and doesn't rush. She's one of these people who's a perfectionist, and this is something that, honestly, in this game, something you should not ignore, because honestly, just playing around, having a good time. Yes, I'm running around looking like I know not what I'm doing. This was my first time trying to figure out understanding the quest system. I was trying to get the Bullymon fur, which, oh god, I'm a moron. Couldn't even see that, honestly, I farmed it out and destroyed already, but you know what? Doesn't matter. But honestly, those badass token points, the best areas to start focusing on them: recoil reduction, accuracy, and if anything, if you can't get any of those, or even reload speed, if you can't get any of those are the top 3 priorities: recoil reduction, accuracy, and reload speed. Later, and then honestly, if you got anything after that, is purely you can go damage or you can go shield, delay, shortening. That is super important. Just honestly, your more important is not damage done. You may be thinking, oh, I gotta do more damage. Honestly, does not matter. These badass points, the most important thing is just straight and simply focus on just reducing any properties that give these guns any small disadvantage, and just little bit by little bit, because honestly, anyone can use any gun effectively. And it's the fact that the best, actually, truth be told, the best ones to start using are the semi-auto, because you can exploit it and spam your weapons like hell. And this is without using elemental damage and exploiting elemental damage, which is something that honestly these weapons seem to be, I want to say, is kind of overpowered. And honestly, I don't think it's well balanced, but it's the fact that if you can wham on that trigger and you put these little points in the badass points, token perks in those areas, your semi-auto weapons will start ripping through enemies like they're nothing, and it won't seem like it's a bad thing. And honestly, yes, this may be the beginning part, and you're like, wow, why don't you choose better gameplay? You're just running around. I'm sorry. Honestly, this is a quasi Let's Play, and this is actually pretty fun. Honestly, this is one of these areas that the beginning areas is interesting and exciting to explore. This is a kind of open world RPG. I've never found levels and maps that really make you want to explore and find and just see things. And I'm kind of enjoying that this game actually promotes such intuitive exploration, kind of like Skyrim, where it was, even though it may not be the most unique and special gameplay, you kind of wanted to explore and look around. And honestly, in little things like this, I mean, this quest just to get a better upgrade shield, it's kind of worthless, but you these extra points do matter. And I will harp on this again. You should be able to use your turret from the beginning, or close enough to the beginning. It's a little too hand-holdy and too drawn out, because you need to use that turret like a secondary grenade. And honestly, that's my other thing, is that when you start doing this game, spam your grenades and your special abilities when you think you're in trouble. And you know what? Many people say that's a bad thing to do. It's teaching you to not keep on your items. Trust me, you'll be getting enough ammunition. You'll be getting enough respawns, and these things will restock quickly enough. And since money is pretty much a worthless thing in this game, you get way too much money. I'm not giving you so much money that it's honestly practically useless. I mean, I have so much money stocked up now. Honestly, I just do it to buy ammunition. You don't even need to buy guns. And honestly, the little perks that you just grab here and there, you really don't need to worry about anything. And it's just it only bothers me that you shouldn't be. They should have found a way to make money more useful, and it's really not, which just drives me nuts. Now, maybe later in game or in the next playthrough it might be, but I still haven't found it to be any way useful, any way, shape, or form. And yes, you have to buy one of these upgrades just to make the AI happy with its quest, because there was no better no better loot, and that may be my problem why I'm not using money, because most of the loot is kind of what I switched to, and I can actually hold out, and I just have this one style. And honestly, there is enough uniqueness and differentiation between all these things that you don't have to worry. And the biggest thing is you don't take any fall damage if you run off a cliff. Now, if that's the end of the map, you will die and respawn. But otherwise, you can jump off of any cliff at any height, and it does no problem. It doesn't hurt you in any way, shape, or form. And I don't know if I'm pro or against that, because you know what? I do feel that there should be some repercussion for jumping off a cliff. But you know what? Since there isn't, use it to shave off time, because you will be running back and forth like a crazy person, because I don't even know how many times I'm just running back and forth, and it drives me insane. I'm not here to do a run or anything. It just, come on. And someone may say you're not doing it the right way. You're not setting this up right. And also the other thing, the customization thing. They take up a backpack space, and what you do is you go into your menu, you select it, and click on it. I have to say that because honestly, it drove me nuts because I couldn't figure out how I could get my new heads. I thought it was weird that I didn't get anything, but that's my one thing I have to say. Because, okay, customization, skin customization, and head customization. And you do get, like, okay, right there, the midgets, you get a new head. Something you, midget riding piggyback. Oh yeah, this is a very mature game. But no, it's just that little things like that. It's like you got all these little quests that are so cool and fun to do, and I think it's that this crazy nature, and also if you can use the fast travel system, it will save your butt. Now, there's not enough fast travel in this game. Some people may argue, oh, there's more than enough, but the fact that they're only at certain areas, and it drives me nuts, that there needs to be a better spot for them if you want to cut it out. But that does pad the time in the game a little too much. It just pads just a hair bit too much, because when you're running around, I mean, there's too much. That's the biggest problem. There's too much running around in this game. Though it does make a very good buffer to keep the action. If it gets too intense, you can run away from it and tone down your own way and stuff like that, which is a great idea. But it just is. There's sometimes you'll be running around like a maniac, and it just drives me nuts. And I'll let this be kind of a quick little fast forward, because honestly, this is just a ton of running, and I got really annoyed. But honestly, truth be told, the bosses that they have in this are really cool. I mean, this is one of my favorite weapon designs of the assault rifles, that they'll actually, have really neat looks and designs. And honestly, I'm blind not looking at how much ammo I have. But honestly, once you get your level 5 perk play up, for your class, you should be using and taking advantage of your what your class perk is, whatever it may be it the Siren's Phase Lock, the Soldier's Turret, the invisible thing for the Assassin, or the Gunzerker. And I honestly have been trying to play the Gunzerker, but I really haven't been able to get into him so much. I've gotten into the others, but the Gunzerker just seems to be missing something. But no, honestly, what it is the fact that these bosses they actually have a character to them that I was not expecting to see, because most of the time, most boss characters you go against, there's something about them, but there's nothing really special. They're just a boss with more hit points, more hit points or whatnot, and it's like, it bothers me that they kind of do that there's not much depth to them whatsoever. And I mean the lack of depth in other games, because the other game, this game has the depth of character, even though they're goofy and silly and wacky. There's a certain unique quality about them. Not just that they're the bad guy, not just that they're you're supposed to fight them. They do have a flavor of their own. Heck, this guy you face up in a few minutes, I'm going to face off in a few minutes, is riding a Bullymon, and he's a midget. Pretty much like from the intro scene, this crazy, zany, wacky humor that honestly I've never really seen in games in a long time. That it seems that games have been missing this zany nature, this humor that games have been trying to go super serious, and it's the fact that honestly, as an industry, that honestly we're not going to mature as a gaming industry if we don't have humor in games. And I'm not talking about we need a romantic comedy video game. I'm talking about you need to have humor in games, that making it super serious is going to actually make the industry less respected, and that games that actually have humor in there, even toilet humor, even just stuff that doesn't, it's just that people would say, oh, it's poor taste. It's the fact that that's the stuff we kind of do need. We need this humor in this game to balance it out, because for a game like this honestly, humor is a way to show that you're mature. You can be the serious person you are, but if you don't have any sense of humor, you're not a mature adult. You're just a dull, boring individual that being broody and stuff like that. And this game, honestly, I feel is it's so lighthearted. It's good that any type of serious notions are not destroyed, that you're being attacked by a psychopath. It's actually kind of, it makes the villain seem so much more horrible because there's humor in this game. That Handsome Jack seems much more of a jackass and a douche, mainly because the game has humor, and he's pretty much almost akin to the straight man in any comedy skit. You need that balance, that all super serious or all super humor, it can destroy it. And I'm not saying this game needs to be more serious or more humor. It's just the fact that, that this game seems to do a nice, decent balance. And this, after a kill or two, I'll be able to get my damn freaking turret, which honestly, they should have given to you way before this. Now, I understand this is probably, they balance it out, so this is the perfect time to get your turret, where you start fighting against all these enemies, they start doing serious damage, and you're freaking out, and here I go. And this is what it is that your skill points and allows you to get, the turret. And honestly, this was something that should have been done from a lot sooner, but it's the fact that, okay, it took you a while, fine. This is the time that honestly sentry gets popped out. This is the time you need to realize that you need to use your sentry more often than you think. And this is another quick little tip that also, when there's no enemies around, reclaim it, because you'll cut down the time it's out. But honestly, every single time you're in battle, rip it out and put it out. You're going to need it, and it helps you out a lot. Yeah, the semi-autos, I love those things. Those are one of the best weapons I've ever seen and played in games. But no, going off of that, so going back to my previous subject, said use your grenades, use your abilities as soon and as often as possible. You start having any little bit of challenge, or you need to just to lighten up, even if you can handle them, pull it out and use it. Get used to using it. Get used to placing your turrets in also advantageous spots. So if you're like, oh, I'm going to hit from the left, well, throw it to the right, and vice versa. Or if you use it as a distraction, use it as if you have a stationary extra player with you, and it can really mess with you. It can really, and not mess with you, mess with the enemies. It can really give you a huge advantage and turn the fight even more on your side. And yes, the cooldown time is about, I think it's at 42 or 43 seconds. I'm going to say it's roughly a minute. And you know what? You don't have to use it every single time, but honestly, every single time you get a point where you can, you get a couple enemies, or especially when you have badass or special unique enemies that are not just simple run, slicey, or run and gun guys, throw it out, because it will really help you out. It is something that honestly, because you haven't played with it for the first about hour or so, you don't really think about it's a weapon you can use. And that is a real shame, because honestly, using those weapons and power-ups are really designed to help you out, and it will help you kick ass. I mean, literally right now probably be the best time to throw it out. Because honestly, what am I doing? Just hugging around cover, acting like a typical first-person shooter. And this is not a typical first-person shooter. You should be using your RPG effects, and also look at your, actually the biggest things, you see explosive turrets or anything like that, use it, shoot them up, and have it explode. Also, the auto-targeting on this, that auto-aim that locks on, seems to be wonky. Sometimes seems to want to pull you one way or the other. But you know what? Honestly, I'm getting frustrated. I should have tossed it out now. I probably will be tossing out shortly. But that's my biggest thing. That you need to learn that right there and there. You deploy your sentry as soon as you possibly can get it in any situation. Because when you start ignoring it, you lose a valuable asset that you kind of just wasting and ignoring. And honestly, when it doesn't actually like that, you also figure out where you're throwing it so you don't get it locked behind cover and it won't do any damage. And it's also the fact that little things like that. And the semi-auto does a hell of a lot better. Yeah, the full auto may be able to pump out more rounds, but it loses its accuracy due to the recoil, especially if you don't have the badass points put into it and you don't have upgrade points into it. Those little points will help out. And if you even notice, those 6 rounds, I want to say all of them hit or most of them hit, and they were right on target with a critical and serious damage. This is why, as I said before, this is why recoil reduction allows you to really mess with the enemies. And I'm trying to figure out where the hell that thing was shooting, because it looked like it was aiming down. And heck, even the enemies you're fighting, no matter how crazy they are, they have this weird sense of humor with them, and I think that's what... Yeah, right? I mean, that, the guys need... Yeah, it's, you just even listening to these characters, that they have their own personality and vibe to them that it seems to be missing in other games. I'll probably be ending this shortly. This will be probably a little bit shorter one, shorter than the previous ones. And I'd like to say, everyone, thank you for listening. I hope these tips, tricks help you out. I will be doing more of them. I will be helping you out. I'll be doing more of these. And I won't be stopping. And also, yes, I will return to my other series. I won't just stop. These are all the series I'm going to continue. I just honestly am trying to grow my channel. Please give me a thumbs up, share, like, and favorite, because it does help me grow my channel. And I love to do more, and I love this to reach more people and help out more people, because honestly, I don't want it just to be, oh, a handful of people being helped. I want to tell everyone about the great games, help them out. I will also be doing Medal of Honor, the beta that's coming out, and whatnot, and letting you guys see it, have fun with it, and whatnot. And everyone... I'd like to say thank you for listening to me, my blabbing, my ranting, my just talking, my musing. And I'd like to say, everyone, thank you. Thank you for listening to me. This is Schultzy,